Hey everyone, we don't have a typical episode of Extra Seconds for you today. We've kind of covered Who Shot Mr. Burns in great detail on this channel already. Instead, I want to let everyone know that, once again, I was the special guest on a supersized episode of the Two Bad Neighbors podcast. That's 2 full hours of bonus commentary about Who Shot Mr. Burns. We talk about both Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 1 and Part 2, as well as the background of the Simpsons Mysteries series on this channel. Also hear about Greg's theory as to who else could have shot Mr. Burns. I've provided a link to the SoundCloud episode below, or you can download it from iTunes or your favorite podcast catcher. Here's a short sample of the show.
I mean, I still don't really know how oil works, so...
Yeah, me neither. They do a pretty great job of trying to explain it in this one, though. They show a big pool and a straw in the pool.
That's what I mean, the milkshake.
Yeah, underneath, and it's just like, yum, 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 I drink your milkshake. And that's it. That's how oil works.
It's mine now, and it shoots out of the top and hurts people.
But if I am... Tell me...
Sexual, don't you think, Smithers?
I'm gonna...
That's another joke I also did not get when I was little.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great little bit of character development for Smithers.
Yeah.
With him.
I think that's his arc, obviously, in this episode is becoming more and more disillusioned at Burns. And I think that's a great moment where it really captures that, because I, as a watcher, am just like, yeah, he's upset with Burns, but he's still with him, to the end kind of thing. And then that moment is when I'm like, oh shit, something's wrong.
Yeah. Because normally he would be all over that.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably Smithers' best episode, to be quite honest. You see the scene afterwards where he's in his office when he's presenting the sundial scene. And, he goes through the long thing about how, owls and the incessant hooting and the town sundial will be worthless,
I love that.
And that's a great bit of foreshadowing, actually.
Such good writing. Sorry.
Yeah, but I think it's actually, Smithers is... in a weird, he's not an actor, but it's kind of his best performance in some ways. There is that there.
And I also love even the first moment he kind of takes issue with Burns is when he's planning to take the oil from the school, and he's like no, this isn't a rival company, it's a school.
Yeah, people
won't stand for it, and it's almost like he's saying I'm not going to stand for it, but of course he's not going to say that to Mr. Burns. He even what he opens with this goes against every sycophantic
bone in my body.
Which is obviously very telling of him as well. But it's he's basically saying I don't like that you're doing this, but he disguises it by saying people won't stand for it.
Yeah,
and I think that's very interesting because he's trying to reason with Burns without really giving away his hand. And then as it goes on, it gets worse and worse, and then he gets fired.
He's vanquished all of his enemies. The school,
old folks' home,
the local tavern.
Yep.
My greatest enemy is still, ever since the dawn of time, mankind has yearned to destroy the sun.
Man.
That's not my favorite joke, but it might be the best line.
That's a great line.
It's pure insanity.
Yes. Because what are you talking about? You're insane, old man.
Yeah, he really is.
He truly.
I don't even understand how the scheme is even going to work, because the thing has to the sun moves. We move around the sun. I'm
the
sorry.
Little device just has moves around.
Is it going to just go all the way across the town?
I think that was the idea, yeah.
But it would need, obviously we don't want to delve too much in the science of this episode, but it would need to be much, much larger than
bigger,
that. Yeah. Like the size of the sun to to do that. Because even when an eclipse happens, it's still bright out.
What kind of eclipse?
Like a solar eclipse.
Like the one in Heroes?
Sure. He's dredging up terrible old TV shows that were big deals at the time.
No, it was terrible. I hated that show.
It's like you guys are permanently stuck in 2009.
I know, right?
Or whatever.
Thanks again to Alan and Greg from the Two Bad Neighbors podcast for having me on their show. I'll be back soon, probably within the next day or two, with a brand new edition of Simpsons Histories. See you then.